Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Random Episode. This is the podcast where we watch a random episode of a TV show from a random series that neither of us have watched before. I'm Varin.
And I'm Christy.
And as always, thank you, Large Jesus. This amazing intro song. I just can't believe we got Large Jesus to make that for us. All right. So this week, we are talking about Homeland, Season 7, Episode 11, All In. This one aired April 22nd, 2018 on Showtime. And the episode summary from IMDb is, Saul's mission is a go. The clock ticks on the Keene administration. And that's it. So thank you, IMDb, for that one.
Very helpful.
So helpful. All right, Christy, what did you know about this show before watching it?
Okay, so listen, when you said Homeland, I pictured a completely different show in my head for some reason. So when I went to turn this on, I was like, wait, this is the show? I guess I had no idea what the show was. But I feel like at this time period, like the 2010s, there were all these shows that were kind of the same, like this. I think in my head, I was picturing maybe Madam Secretary or Designated Survivor,
House of Cards.
House of Cards, and I'd watched House of Cards, so I knew it wasn't that, but I just feel like all of them blended in my head, and I had this image in my mind of what this show was, and then it was not that at all. I mean, kind of, but not really. I also had no idea this was a Showtime show. Again, in my head, this was on ABC. I really think it was I was picturing Designated Survivor or Madam Secretary. I don't even know what I was picturing. So I guess I didn't know anything about this other than I just blended it in with all the other shows that I think are basically the same show that was just recreated over and over in the 2010s. Right? Sure. I don't know. What about you? What did you know?
No, I remember this show coming out. I remember it being a hit. I didn't know it was a Showtime show, which is why I didn't watch it. But I think the whole randomization of this is we did get a later season, and I think the earlier seasons there was another main character. I forget his name. Some redheaded actor. Should have looked this up for coming on, but which was why it was much more popular. So I was shocked to not see that guy in this episode. But yeah, no, I mean, I just knew it was something political, thriller, some back end stuff going on with the governments and secret operations. That was about the extent of what I knew about the show Homeland.
Did you know that it was Claire Danes?
Yes.
I don't think I even knew. Again, I just had this picture of generic white woman lead actress. It could have been any of them from any of these shows. But then I was I guess Claire Danes is a big deal, right? I literally only can think, when I think of her, I think of Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. That's the movie and that was clearly 30 years ago. So I don't know, but is she a big deal to you? I don't know.
Same thing. I think because of Romeo and Juliet,
Claire
Danes just became in her name, she just became this huge thing in the world. But I don't even know if she even did a whole lot.
I think I looked her up and I was I still don't really recognize any of these other things that she's ever been in besides Romeo and Juliet in the 90s with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I only watched that because I had a huge crush on Leonardo DiCaprio in the 90s, as did all of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess she's a good actress. I don't know. We'll talk about that later, I guess. But so I guess that's a big one. And then did you know anybody else who was in this cast?
Well, coming back, I was doing some research just now, and Damian Lewis is the guy who I was thinking of. He was from Band of Brothers, Billions more recently, and yeah, he's probably one of those guys that you would probably recognize.
Okay.
If you saw him.
I don't recognize the name. Okay.
Anyway, some other folks, I mean, Beau Bridges, I recognized him.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he was a VP. He was a vice president.
Okay, I maybe kind of recognize his face.
Yeah. But most of these people were just those people. I recognize them from something else.
Well, what was wild was I would not have recognized Saul. It's Mandy Patinkin from Princess Bride. Inigo Montoya from Princess Bride. But I would not have made that connection unless I had looked it up on IMDb. Like
Oh, man,
nothing
that's a good
like
one.
what he was like in Princess Bride. So that one was shocking to me, but now that I know it's him, I guess I can see it. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, oh, you know what? I recognized the president because she's also in House of
House
Cards,
of Cards.
which I was like,
Yes.
is this the same show as House of Cards? Like, is it? I think she plays almost the same like character in House of Cards.
I think so too. Yeah. I think the 2010s were just a big time for political dramas.
Like they kind of knew the US was about to implode and they were like, let's just like make some shows
Yeah.
about how crappy and like effed up the US is about to get. And then like they were kind of right.
They were kind of right. And we'll
they
talk about it, too.
predicted our downfall, I guess, as a nation. So it is kind of surreal to like watch these 2010s political shows and realize like maybe they weren't wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Maybe they weren't wrong. All right. So we do our recap here. There's 3 kind of main storylines here. The first one is let's dive into the president. We
Okay.
just talked about her. Our president is President Elizabeth Keene.
Yeah, woman president.
Yes, gotta love it.
Which, like, I wanted to be happy about, but she sucks. Maybe she sucks. I don't know. It's hard
I don't
to tell.
think she actually sucked.
Oh, really?
Anyway,
Okay.
we don't know why she's been in this situation, really. It kind of seems as if there's some deaths that have gone on,
Okay.
and the world, and definitely her cabinet, is trying to blame her for whatever's going on. And she told people, including Senator Sam Paley, that it was the Russians. It was the Russians. But they don't believe her, and her cabinet has, including her vice president, have turned on her and have invoked the 25th Amendment,
Yeah.
which is the amendment that deems that if the president, for whatever reason, through sickness or in a coma or for whatever reason,
It's supposed to be like
supposed to
for
be for that.
serious, like physical or mental
Exactly.
incapacitation. Yeah.
that the cabinet and the vice president can invoke the 25th Amendment,
Take over.
and take over.
And then the VP becomes president.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you caught all of that. I literally watched this twice through and I still was like, why are they so mad at her? I don't know. I guess because I've been watching, it was hard to pick up. So that's interesting. I just assumed she was bad, but I guess maybe it depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Sam Paley, who's one of the people who is part of this whole
Yeah.
overthrow of the president,
Yeah.
so he in the car with his assistant was
Chief of
the
staff.
chief of staff, with his chief of staff. Sorry, my apologies to Chief of Staff Janet Bain, because she even said that to one of the characters. When they're having a discussion in the car about everything that's going on, he tells her that she told me it was the Russians, and
Yeah.
and that's when he comes to find out that Janet's essentially telling him that no, it wasn't it was the Russians, and that the president isn't actually at fault for whatever's gone on,
Okay.
whatever's happened.
Yeah. There's some big crisis happening with Russia,
Right.
like classic
Right.
political drama from the 2010s. We
And
hate
right
Russia.
now.
Russia is just consistently the enemy. Yeah,
Yeah.
and okay, so that's interesting to think about. Like maybe she's not crazy and like she's not actually doing all these bad things, and it's just like her cabinet and VP are the bad guys turning
Yeah,
on her.
I think they are. Yeah, they're staging
Yeah.
a coup. It seems like.
Well, yeah. So then I guess they like took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme
Right.
Court also was like, "Yep, you're out." So they removed her from office. I don't know. This just made me, I don't know, just think about like, could this be used today? Like,
Could it be used today?
could this still happen?
I know. Who can we tell about this 25th Amendment thing? I mean,
I do remember, like, it's been brought up, though, over the past decade, probably like, with COVID, right? Like, oh, like, if the president got, like, COVID, would they have to, like, use the 25th Amendment, right? Like, I think it's been brought up just, like, casually, and, you know, just casually in conversations about the presidency over the last the last decade. But this was definitely an interesting, knowing what's going on in our current political situation, like, to see that in action in this show. It's like, oh,
right.
interesting connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, and they do bring it up in the show. Like, she's basically like, the 25th Amendment is supposed to be like, I'm in a coma. Like, I am fine.
Yes.
Like, I am normal. Like, I could pass a psychic eval. Like, I am a completely fine human being. Like, you are overreaching and you're not supposed to be using it this way. So, I don't know. It is interesting, again, like, political drama of it all.
I am curious what if it is just the things that they lay out to the Russian when we talk about it a little bit later. Is it just these deaths that happened on her watch? Is that really it, or is she doing more stuff? Is she really just a shitty president?
Right. I also wonder, do you think they ever say like what political party these people are in?
I'm not
Like,
sure.
is that supposed to be part of it? I don't know. I couldn't really catch on to even like what party people were. Like, it was hard to kind of even gather any of that or like what. But also, we just saw one episode. Like, this clearly, it's been going on for, what season is this?
This was season 7.
Yeah, like a lot of seasons. So I don't know.
Many
And
seasons.
I'm guessing like this president hasn't been president for all 7 of those seasons. So I don't know. Things have changed, but again, like, as just like people watching this one episode, it was definitely interesting to like see this storyline playing out, and hard to fully pick a side.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the context.
Exactly. But it impacts the rest of the storylines. But let's just quickly talk about Senator Sam Paley, too, because he's got his own stuff going on. He's going to visit someone in prison, trying to get intel on the NSA advisor, who is Saul Berenson, and Carrie Matheson, who is Claire Danes, and trying to understand more about like what are they doing in Russia, because he wants to know why are they going to Russia, because it sounds like Saul Berenson is working for the president and gets his authority from the president.
That part was also unclear to me. Like, I still don't know who like is a legit government employee and who's just like doing Russia shit. Like, I don't know. Like, is Carrie an employee? Or like she just like gets hired on the side to like help with Russia stuff?
Oh yeah, I don't know. She seems like a contractor.
Like,
Quote unquote.
Yeah, I was gonna say
quote
like,
unquote contractor for hire, like mercenary for hire.
Yeah, more like a mercenary.
That's
for
where
hire.
I was getting.
Okay, but Saul is like a legitimate government employee.
Okay,
at that
okay.
point.
Here's what
Oh
I
my
think.
God.
Here's what I think.
Okay,
Here's what I think.
Please explain the situation.
I think that the president, Elizabeth Keene,
Okay.
some shit's been going down on her watch. That's not her fault. She's getting blamed for it, but she knows it's Russia, and so she tasks Saul Berenson to go to Russia to go and get this person, Simone
Okay.
Martin, while also trying to pin this all on who's actually done this guy Yevgeny,
Who's a Russian.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so the cover up here is that Saul's going to go, NSA advisor, go meet with the Russians, while in the background, Carrie,
Yeah.
it's going to do her thing.
Like a covert op,
Yes, her covert operation.
secretly gonna smuggle out this person.
Because this is going to prove the president right. It's going to clear her name once they get this person, Simone.
I think you're exactly right. I don't know if again, people, I watched this twice through and I still am like, what's going on?
I think I cracked it.
I think everything you just said makes total sense. And I think that's what's going on.
This feels good.
All right, done.
I like
Check.
this. Man.
We did it.
Didn't even need my crystal ball for this one. Yeah, so Sam Paley, Senator Sam Paley, his chief of staff, Janet, goes and visits this person who's on Saul's team. His name is Clint.
I think is he Carrie's? I don't know. Is he
Oh,
is like
yeah,
Carrie's
he's on.
team?
I think he's on Carrie's team. Right, I think
Well,
you're right.
basically, the jail guy is like, how many people do you know that are experts about Russia? Like, I
Yeah.
guess there's like 3 people in DC who are Russia experts, and so they
is
know, like, oh,
bullshit. It's probably more than that, but
well, there's clearly just these 3 people, so clearly they're the ones that are like working with Carrie. Which, sure,
yeah,
and like, here's their address.
yeah. Somehow
Here's the
chief of
basement he lives
staff-
in.
Yes, by talking to a prisoner about go find Russian experts. The chief of staff then goes and finds this. Maybe this is like the 20th house she's knocked on. You know, you
That's
never know. This could be the
true.
20th house she's knocked on.
True.
But anyway, she goes there to Clint's house. He lives in the basement of his mom's house, and he talks to her and says, essentially, just that's some simple threatening. He says, like, I know who you work for, and I need to know where, Carrie is and Saul, and what are they doing? And gets like tearing up, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to tell you." And then she just threatens like the attorney general.
She's like, I'll call the attorney general right now. And that's all it needs.
And that's all it took? I mean, dude, you suck. I mean, you have no loyalty whatsoever to your team. You cracked under pressure so easily.
Like, this is the most unrealistic. Like, if this is seriously one of the, like, high-level op, like, working for Russia on, like, secret missions, and he will crack from just a woman threatening to call the attorney general, who's probably bullshitting anyway, because, like, does she have the attorney general's number on speed dial? No. Like, this is maybe the most unbelievable part of this episode. There might be more, but this is pretty bad.
Extremely unbelievable. What should have happened was... he should have stood his ground, said nothing, but maybe looked at his desk or noticed something or like a map of Russia or something like that, or that would have been a better storyline than threatening the attorney general and him just cracking so easily. Because really, what he should have been is like said is no, and then immediately called up Saul or called up Carrie or whoever he's working with. And like, yo, this just happened.
Right. Well, if this was House of Cards or Scandal, like they would have been torturing the shit out of him. Like it would be like, okay, let me bring in these big guys with guns and torture devices. Like that's how they would have gotten the information out of him.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Not just like some rando woman threatening to call some rando. Like it was so crazy.
She's the chief of staff, okay?
Sorry, she's the chief of staff for a senator, and so she has all this power. No, that was like slightly disappointing, like especially for a Showtime show where they can do graphic violence.
Yes,
like the fact that shows that are on ABC, like Scandal, can show like torture scenes, and like this Showtime show it just felt like so vanilla for like a Showtime show. Maybe other episodes are darker and more violent, but I don't like other than the occasional F word. I was like, why does this need to be on Showtime?
True.
Odd.
Or maybe Clint is just this is taking a more realistic approach to it. Maybe Clint is just he's living in his mom's house. He doesn't have a lot going on for him. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of loyalty. Maybe he's not getting paid a lot of money. Just this whole mercenary gig you thought would be good, being the whole backup home team for a mercenary crew.
Yeah.
It sounded more fun at first, but in real life, he's still living home with his mom, so he's just like, yeah, screw this.
I guess. But anyway, so he basically gives up the entire operation. And
the whole operation.
Due to this brilliance of the chief of staff, like it completely shuts down everything that's going on in Russia. And not just shuts down, but like screws it up.
Well, she brings it to Senator Paley. This one, Senator Paley's like, oh crap, the president was right. Like, so this is gonna like ruin. I guess this would ruin his whole plan of the whole takeover.
Sure.
But the chief of staff, she's got a plan. She drives him directly to the Russian ambassador's gym or something like that. I don't know, and tells him there's only one thing to do. If you want to achieve your goal, you gotta go tell the Russian ambassador what Saul and what Carrie are doing, and stop them. But Senator Paley, he kind of has some guts and refuses to get out of the car, but the chief of staff, she gets out and she talks to the ambassador and tells him what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, this brings up a good like ethical dilemma, right? Like if you are the senator and in a situation where you can like do something really shitty, but it's going to better you, or you can like do the right thing and like better a lot of people. I mean, if you're a senator, you just like, I only care about myself. In theory, they're supposed to care about their constituents first and foremost. I don't know. What do you do?
I think he did the right thing. What he should have done, right, is like, again, you got to keep your hands clean. So really, this should not have been on him to tell. The plan should have been for Janet, the chief of staff, to go and tell the Russian ambassador.
Yeah.
Or tell the Russian ambassador's people.
Yeah. That's true.
Keep
your hands clean, yeah.
Yeah, keep your hands clean. But don't pull up right in front of Equinox where the ambassador's been hanging out. And where's the Russian ambassador's security? I mean, you are Russian ambassador in the middle of the city.
Weird. And like,
just weird.
Clearly tensions are high with Russia right now. And like, they're just wandering around alone.
Yeah.
That does seem incorrect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't know. They blew it up.
They ruined the plan. And the plan. So let's get to the main storyline, the real meat of the story here.
Yes. What's happening in Russia?
Yes. So Saul comes to, we've already discussed this NSA advisor, comes to Carrie, says, Simone's in Russia. We got to get her out. I need your team. Let's go. And so they go to Russia. They set up a really cool tent in the room, which is, I guess, what's the soundproof and wiretap proof. I don't know. In one of the hotel rooms.
Very secure. Exactly. They were like, this is the most secure place you'll have in all of Russia.
Exactly. Right. And the plan is to get, because this guy Yevgeny is with Simone. And I guess Simone, I don't even know what the importance of Simone is.
I have no
idea.
She knows something or did something.
But she's in love with Yevgeny.
Do you think she's in love with him?
They kiss. Which gets weird. Which gets weird at the end of how quickly she flips. But
I feel like they definitely had some sort of relationship.
Right.
It's also very unclear if Simone wants to be rescued. Like,
I don't think she had no plans to be rescued.
I agree. Like, the way they were talking at the beginning is like, we got to get Simone out of there. But then when you actually see Simone in Russia, she seems to be very happy, quite content.
Very happy. She's swimming in her pool.
She's swimming
in
outside.
30-degree weather.
I presume a nice heated pool.
I hope it's a heated pool.
Living in a pretty big, I don't know, nice Russian palace. What do they call them in Russia?
Estate, something.
Sure. Like, seems to like the guy she's with. They're pretty powerful. But I feel like she doesn't want to be extricated.
But she's important. She's important to Carrie. Very important to Carrie. She's like, I got to get Simone out. Obviously important to Saul. And the chief of staff, Linda, Senator Paley's chief of staff, she knows who Simone is.
Right. She does seem important.
Because she didn't realize, apparently, that Simone was alive. Like, she was shocked when Clint, the analyst, told her this. So Simone is important, and this is why they're going to go in under the guise of meeting with a Russian delegation.
Yep. To talk about all the bad shit Russia's been doing.
Exactly. So the plan is go to talk to them, bring up these deaths, demand that Yevgeny come, which the Russian delegation, led by Mirov, cracks very easily. Is like,
they're like, sure, let's get him over here.
Oh shit, you know Yevgeny? No. Okay, fine. I'll somehow get him to come over that day, even though he's out in some, who knows where he is, some rural place, part of wherever.
Yes.
Anyway, Yevgeny comes. There's some tensions between Yevgeny, Mirov, and the general, whose name is Yakushin.
Yeah.
Which is just obviously just there purely for the story.
Yeah.
And they... While Yevgeny's there, the team goes out to Simone's estate and to go get her. And then in the midst of that, that's when shit hits the fan, because the Mirov and the Russian delegation gets a call, presumably from the Russian ambassador, and then we see the team get ambushed. One dude goes down, and then they escape. They come back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And they just left a guy behind.
Well, he died.
Did he die?
I mean, I assume.
Oh, yeah, he did get shot in the head, didn't he?
There's a lot of people, and they did say we lost one or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say I kind of zoned out. Again, both times I watched this, I was like, I don't really need to see that. I don't know. Okay, great. 5 minutes of this team breaking into a house, and it's not going to be successful because they already called them and they're stopping it. It was boring to me.
So Russian ambassador's blown up their spot. President is now, been...
She's gone.
25th amended.
Out.
So Saul's like, we lost all our leverage. We have no authority to be here. And the Russians know this too. We got to go home.
Right. And their whole plan is completely destroyed. That's what he's like. The entire plan was based on... the element of surprise, and we don't have that anymore. So, we got to go.
Exactly. But Carrie's like, no. Which I don't know why Carrie's here.
That's what I was about to say. Who is Carrie?
I don't know who Carrie is. She, from the opening credit scene, she has some fucked up past. It seems like some like real.
She's bipolar,
She's
which
bipolar.
they make a huge deal about in the opening credit scene that
Yeah.
like she's bipolar and this is a huge deal. Like people live being bipolar all the time. I don't know
Yeah.
why this is like such a huge thing.
Kanye does it.
Okay. I don't know. That's the best example. Regardless, I don't know. She's clearly there's something going on that makes her like special.
Yeah, she's something
don't
else
know.
special, but I don't know why she's chosen for this job. Like, it's just
I don't know.
anyway. But she is like, I'm not leaving.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
not leaving. Give me some time. I can come up with a plan. And her plan is a terrible plan. It's a terrible plan. And
Well, it
I mean,
works.
this shit takes time. Oh yeah, because it's a TV show, which the storyline in a script that clearly was not very good. But I mean, her plan is essentially to go after the general because she could sense somehow.
She could sense tension between them.
Yeah, so she's gonna pit Yakushin, the general, against everyone else.
Yeah.
Go after his money.
Yeah.
Because apparently he
Has like
has
$300
million
in
chilling in
America.
America. Yeah, like okay, that's convenient.
Very.
And why does he have that in America? That's
Right.
like,
Aren't there like better places to hide your money? Like Switzerland?
yes,
Is that a thing?
especially yeah, anywhere.
Like offshore accounts? Isn't that a thing that rich people do?
Especially since I feel like going after. Like this happened to an oligarch, a Russian oligarch who owned Chelsea, the football team, the soccer team in Europe.
Okay.
Right? So they froze his money, which then forced him to sell the team. So like this is something that happens. Like to make a statement against against the Russians, like countries will go after their rich people and like freeze their money.
How do we freeze the money of the people running our own country?
Great question. Great question.
How do you just freeze someone's money?
It's fine because X will just pay him $10 million.
I mean,
to
clearly
settle a lawsuit.
nothing would happen here, but that I guess I just don't understand that
Yeah.
concept. But if that's a real thing, like that's fascinating. But then it does make it even stupider. Like, if you're a Russian,
Yes.
why are you putting all of your money in America, knowing that they could easily like blackmail you for like do all this stuff to you?
It was very easy.
That's convenient. And there's just the fact that like when Carrie's making her plan, she's like, what could I possibly do? Like, how could I possibly convince him? And this rando lady's like, how about go after his money? Like, if Carrie is truly this like brilliant mastermind, like she wouldn't have thought, like money is the most obvious answer to every problem. Like, I don't know. It's just the fact that she was like, whoa, I hadn't even considered like money.
Yeah.
It just felt so lazy.
Again, I think it is lazy writing on this show's part. We're in season 7 of 8, and this is episode 11 of 12. This is
Yeah.
they're dialing in. I think.
Yeah.
Just collecting the paychecks.
But I
from
guess it's
Showtime.
gonna work because they're
gonna
gonna freeze
work.
his money, and then he's like, "Fuck it, I guess I gotta."
He's gonna freeze his money. He goes to talk to Saul. He's like, "Give me back my money." And Saul's like, "Get me Simone."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to gather a small army
I don't know.
and go after my own government.
It was
I'm going to
confusing.
attack my own government,
Sure. Yeah.
my own people, to go after and I guess get Simone to then get delivered to the Americans."
Unclear.
This plan is so half baked, and again, it just has to happen within like 24 hours. Like, why does it have to happen in 24 hours? Anyway, it all works out because
Yeah.
conveniently, Carrie and her remaining team, can go in. Conveniently, they're wearing the same outfits as the small army members. They just follow the flow of chaos that's happening in this
Yeah.
very public square.
Well, because they're at this like like a public building. They said it's like the safest building for like you to hide somebody in Russia or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, just like fully like opening fire on civilians. Like again, their own people, I guess. They're
Yes.
just like tackling, like opening fire on. Is this just like a Russia thing? Like, I don't know. I would like to think if this happened in most countries, it would be a big deal of like, oh my God, like opening fire in the middle of like a public square of your own people. But like, maybe that's a typical thing in Russia. It's just like,
I don't think it is.
that happens in Russia. Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, Russia's had a pretty sordid past. Like, they've
Yeah.
done a lot of shit to their own people over time. So maybe it's like not that big of a deal.
Maybe it's not.
I don't know, but it did seem
Just another day
problematic.
in Moscow.
Anyway, they infiltrate this building. They're going after Simone.
They go after Simone. They spend a lot of time of Carrie like scaling a wall.
Oh my god.
And a building. Spent so much time on this. And
Just-
it is at this point that I realized there's no background music. It was so quiet of just like listening to her breathing and going through.
I guess that was dramatic though.
But no, it wasn't even just like that part. It was like a lot of that whole scene of in the building. I was like, I feel like this is missing music to like give me some more intensity. It was very muted. I felt
Interesting. I guess I didn't
like the
really-
whole intensity, because this is supposed to be a big scene of like this huge attack and like and them going in. And there should be some like intense music, like building up the drama and our senses of like the stakes that are at play here. And there's either no music or is very soft like action music.
That's a great point. Maybe that's why I was very zoned out and basically not even paying attention to this part.
Exactly.
Which is, you're right. Like, this is supposed to be the climax, like the big action scene. And I found myself being like, I'm sure she'll find her. Like, sure.
Big action scene of not only this episode but also this season. Again, this is the penultimate episode.
It is. God.
This is the second to last episode of the season. Like, this is where it's all happening. And it was just so muted. I felt like
Yeah.
wife producer had already gone to bed at this point. She's like, I'm good.
Well, and it's like the whole, so she's like, running up the stairs, like getting up to the top of this building because she's in the woman's in the penthouse or whatever. And when she gets to the window and they're like, oh God, she's going to have to scale the building. Like, is this a thing that just has to happen in every action movie show? Like, at some point, the main character has to scale a building. I have never in my life been in a situation where I have felt like I needed to scale a building. Have you?
The stakes have never been that high for you, I guess. I scale buildings all the time. I mean, how do you think? No.
When would I ever? I guess I'm not an action star. I don't know. I guess I'm not a Russia like secret op. I just feel like don't you feel like this happens a lot in shows?
And definitely in like Bond movies
more
and
than
things
in
like
real
that.
life.
Yeah.
It just
Because
felt-
but honestly, it makes sense, right? If there are only certain hallways and doors and they're barricaded or you don't know what's around there, just pop out a window and just go climb it up.
I will also say though, the ledge was like pretty like wide. Like, I don't know. I sometimes, when you see these crazy scenes in movies, like the ledge is like, 3 inches and it's like, how is she doing this? It was like a foot. Like, I feel like she had kind of plenty of space.
Okay, Chrissy, not all of us have great balance like you do, okay? For me, that foot, I'd be like, oh shit, I'm going to fall off this thing. 100%.
I guess, but I don't know. It didn't look like that difficult. My other issue with this is she's outside, the wind is blowing, her hair is just down. Okay, personal preference. Like, my hair is currently in a ponytail. Like, if I'm doing something where I need to be able to like focus, like use my hands, be able to see straight, like I'm pulling my hair back into a ponytail. And it really bothered me that her hair is just like flying in her face. Like, girl, don't you have like a scrunchie on your wrist? Like something that you can like pull that hair back? It made me really nervous for her.
That's an excellent point. An excellent point.
This is the type of thing I think about, okay?
I personally don't have to deal with that problem. Never had to deal with that problem. But no, I agree.
It was very stressful.
It's very unrealistic. I
So
feel
unrealistic.
Like just throw your hair in a ponytail, make life easier.
Yes.
In this whole action sequence, right? Like, you don't want to have to worry about your hair getting in your face.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're about to like potentially like, I don't know, climb over things, like scale walls, and you're just like
Shoot people.
Shoot people.
You
You've
shoot
got your
in your
hair
face.
blowing in your face. Like, she looked a little too, I don't know, like makeup on, hair done. Like, girl, you're about to go like, I don't know, try to rescue somebody from a building that's like basically under attack. I don't know. Again, it's a TV show.
It's a TV show.
Fine, I'll accept it.
But she gets in there, finds Simone. Simone's pulled a gun on her. This is how we know, like, Simone is quite happy.
Yeah,
where she
Simone's
is.
like, I'm okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'm good. I love Yevgeny, and this
guess.
life's good. I got my swim pool, and never been in the best shape of my life.
I'm in a penthouse right now.
Exactly. But somehow she also flips very easily.
So easily. It takes 2 seconds.
Carrie's like, guess what? Yevgeny does this all the time. Trust me. You don't know me, but trust me. He does this all the time. He's going to flip on you. Everyone's going to flip on you. They're all gonna, and you're going to die. They're going to kill you.
Which, like, to be fair, that's probably believable. Like, if you're Simone, you might be like, actually, like, they are Russian, like, criminals. Like, probably that's going to happen to me. I don't know. I agree. It flipped real fast. Like, she agreed within, like, 2 seconds. But at the end of the day, she probably made the smart decision because she probably knew deep down, like, yeah, they're going to kill me.
But Yevgeny was like, they just kissed. She wanted him to stay, and he's like, I'm going to go protect you outside. I'm going to bodyguard you.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. But if push comes to shove.
And he, you know, Kevin Costner.
If push comes to shove, and somebody's like, you need to kill her, or I'll kill you, like, she's going down. I don't know.
Anyway,
she flipped very fast.
She flipped very easily.
Yeah.
And when Yevgeny comes back,
she's gone.
She's gone. And when he looks out the window, he sees her running across, sees her familiar scarf.
Her hair and scarf.
Exactly. Her hair and scarf running across the square, get into a gray Mercedes, and drive off. But dun dun dun, the classic wig bait and switch trick, right? So that's actually Claire Danes, that's actually Carrie, with the wig on, with the dark haired wig and the red scarf, driving off. And yeah, Simone had a blonde wig and got into a different car.
This feels so lazy to me. Like, this is just too, I don't know. Didn't we do this like decades ago?
Yeah, I just think it was unnecessary. It's like, why did he have to see this? Like, why couldn't it just be like, she's gone, like, that's it,
right? But it just feels like lazy. Of like, oh, she wouldn't have thought to like cover her head. Like, I don't know. You really think this covert operation is going to end and they just like let her run out in the middle of the open, like looking like herself, just exposed to the elements? No. Yeah. Like, obviously they're in her disguise.
Yes.
So, and it's like, oh, that must be her. Like, no. I don't know. It just felt like such lazy work.
It's also just funny to imagine that because Carrie and her team, when they're in the hotel, it was like, oh, shit's going down. We got to go. But someone was like, yo, don't forget the wig bag. We're going to need the wigs. And they just grabbed them because it was just so convenient. They had those on them to do this whole bait and switch.
That was my first thought, was like, where were these wigs? Like, where did Carrie have these 2 wigs hiding? Like, she didn't have like a bag.
Yeah, and she had to have them on her.
They were on her person. Like, she was
in the building,
ready to go with these 2 wigs on her person.
Yeah,
scaling a building.
Yeah,
what? Like, where were the wigs?
So I guess we did see, because she did get split up from her team. So maybe the team, while all this shooting and chaos and people running, because they did park their van conveniently right in the center of the square where all the action is happening. Maybe he like jogged back to the van, grabbed the wig bag, and then came back on out and met them inside.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. They had a wig man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well.
The moral of the story is always have your wigs on you. You never know when you're going to need them in the spy world.
That's it. You got it.
Yeah. And that was about it. We're going to see what happens. Now they got Simone. And maybe this is going to clear the president.
Oh, yeah.
And the president can then storm back into the White House and reclaim her throne.
Is she going to rehire every cabinet member that she fired? Or, like, she's going to pick a new cabinet? You know, like, what's going to happen?
I would think that you either have them kiss the ring.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, you got
I feel like you got to start from scratch. That's a lot of people to have to rehire.
That is.
Like, how many people are in the cabinet? Like 15? Like, it's a lot, right? Like, that's a
government waste.
A lot. But you got to like re-interview all those people, get them approved by the Senate.
Exactly.
Like, this shit takes time.
So just kiss the ring and we'll get back to work.
Oh my God. Who knows? Yeah. Well, this is also like assuming Simone makes it out of Russia. We don't know yet. You know?
Yeah, I think
she's in the car, but like, does she have a plane ticket?
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, they again. I feel like if I was Russia with the power you have, you just lock down airspace, man. Like
Right?
you know that this high value
Yes.
person is out there,
Yes.
and what's gonna happen to General Yakushin? Like,
Well, he's screwed.
I mean,
They're
yeah,
gonna kill him.
he's gotta get out.
Public execution in the same square where he caused a riot.
Exactly.
It's
All
Russia.
for his money. Yeah.
But as long as his family gets access to the 300 mil, he's fine.
Well, he's not fine.
Well, he's
The family's fine.
Oh God.
So-
A lot of we still have a lot of questions, and I don't think I'm gonna look for the answers.
Fair enough.
I'm good.
Fair enough.
I am satisfied to never know the answers to these questions, and I think it's fine. I'll move on with my life.
It was a fun. It was fun to watch. I mean, it gets a little boring to watch, but it was fun to watch because I was like, okay, where's this gonna end up?
Yeah.
They did keep me on my toes a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, I enjoyed, Scandal, House of Cards, same type of vibe. I never did all these shows that I also thought of. I never actually saw an episode of like Madam Secretary, Designated Survivor. These might have nothing to do with this. It's again just the picture in my head. But it was a classic political thriller, and it keeps you hooked, I guess.
Yeah,
So that's fine.
it's fine. I think that if we had watched an episode from the earlier seasons,
Yeah.
I think it would have been a lot better. I think since we took
True.
an episode from a later season, I think that this episode and this season are probably in that trap of many shows of this has just gone on too long.
That's true. I mean,
Like-
the shows I just named, I did not finish House of Cards or Scandal.
Right. I agree.
Because they got bad at the end.
Exactly.
So I
It's
get
just every show has its lifespan, and sometimes because of money or whatever, they just go on too long.
Yeah.
And they just get even our favorite Office, right? Just
Sure,
went on
yeah.
a little bit too
Last
long,
season,
and those last two seasons
coulda
just
left.
weren't that great.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened here. This
I
just
guess.
wasn't that great.
And yet
but
somehow Grey's Anatomy is in season 25.
how's that possible? How's that possible? And you're still watching every
I am
episode,
not.
right?
I am absolutely not watching that show anymore. But some people, I mean, a lot of people are. I digress. All right, back to this show.
All right, so let's then talk about acting quality, shall we?
Yeah.
From a rating system of A being top notch, best Emmy winning acting quality, to F just being true garbage. How would you grade the acting on the show?
I'll give it a B. I thought it was fine.
Okay.
Oh, he's making a face.
Interesting.
Why?
Well, tell me more. Why tell me more about a B. I feel good. Okay,
What did you give it?
a C.
Sure.
I thought the acting was not good. I didn't think Claire Danes was that great. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone in this
I
episode
feel like Mandy
really...
Patinkin's pretty good.
Yeah, he was fine.
And like that, yeah, B, average. I guess C.
But I
is
think
C.
everyone else
Okay.
was pretty bad. So
The-
I just don't think anyone was doing a great job.
The senator was pretty bad.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of like the ancillary characters were bad. I don't know. I mean, half of them were speaking Russian the whole time, so like I don't know how their acting
Even
was.
but I feel like the Russians
they
were
were
just
believable.
overacting. I feel like the Russians were overacting too. It was just, I'm gonna stand by my C.
I'll accept that. Sure.
Okay.
B, C. It's all the same. I don't feel very like strong one way or another.
Fair enough. All right, and then let's go on to our rock rating. This is our representation of color based on the number of POCs that were in the episode that we watched from 0 to 10. And I'm going to give this one a 2 because we had one black character who was up on the team.
I don't remember
He
that.
had a few speaking lines.
Okay.
He was the one who was like in the black tent in the hotel room.
Okay. Good call. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then Simone seemed to be a
She
mix.
didn't look Asian.
Yeah, she seemed to be a mix.
I mean, technically, Russians are Asian.
No, I don't.
Well, kind of.
I'm not going to buy into that one. But yeah, otherwise, there's really no one else.
Yeah, that's a great
It was
point.
not great. It was not great. So,
Okay.
but again, I do think that in early seasons, I think this one is the adversary is Russia, and I do believe I remember from commercials that the earlier seasons of Homeland took place in the Middle East. So Like, I think that if we'd watched an earlier season, we may have gotten a few more POCs.
So there's like representation, but they're like the enemy.
Yeah.
They're the bad guys.
I'll take what I can get. All right. Finally, did you like it?
Like, not really. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad show. Like, again, I think I've said this with other shows before. Like, I could see why other people would like it. I feel like you're right. Probably the earlier seasons, maybe I would have been more compelled to keep watching, but nah, not really. I don't know. What about you?
This one, it was fun to make fun of, and there was some interesting stuff there. I think it has the elements to be good.
Yeah, sure.
But again, I just think that we are at the end, towards the end of the life of this show, and they're just dialing it in. Yeah. I would be interested to go back to the earlier seasons and see what it was like then, when it was, again, a hit back then.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you actually going to go watch it?
It's not top of the list. It's not top of the list.
We have so much other content.
Yes.
It's not the priority.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Remember to follow us on Spotify or wherever you're listening. And if you like what you hear, please rate us 5 stars. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Random Episode Pod. Finally, and most importantly, come back next week for our next random episode.
Bye.